Hello, and I'm Dr. Jordan Smith, and I wanted to take this time and opportunity to share with you sort of the background and inside stories to my new book entitled Shattered Chains. Shattered Chains. There it is. There's the book cover right there. There we go. Shattered Chains. When systems fail, students rise. I want you to take note. We're talking about. So this is the fourth book in a series that I wrote entitled Against the Odds, Chronicles of Resilience. So let me kind of give you a little background on this as to how we got here. And it actually began because my son called me up. My oldest son, Jordan III, called me up and said, Dad, why don't you write your story? Why don't you write a book about your story? And I said, well, who would want to listen to it or who would want to get it? He says, yeah, but here's the thing, Dad. If you don't tell your story, nobody else will. And so that's how I got started writing my first book. And it was called Annapolis Creed. And all the books that I mentioned here are actually on Amazon, but it's called Annapolis Creed. And in that book, I tell about my first major accomplishment that got me on the front cover of every major newspaper on the Eastern Seaboard in June of 1976 when I made history in that time point. So, but I was able to achieve my goal. I became the color company commander of 17th Company, and at that time point, we were the color company, and so I had the honor of becoming the color company commander. But went 20 years in the Marine Corps, became a major, got out in 1996. I got passed over for lieutenant colonel. It was time for me to go, but I'd actually met my goal because at the time point when I came in the Marines, the highest ranking minority or African American that I ever saw had a rank of captain, and they were Mustangs. So I met my goal. It was time to move up. Then I became and found my true love. When I was a Marine, I loved to instruct classes doing military instruction. I did that a lot. I even did that as a civilian contractor, my skills. And at the age of 50, I became a high school math teacher. Did the first 10 years in the traditional high school, and then I got transferred, a voluntary transfer to the alternative school. Why? Because the California had a California high school exit exam, required students to go ahead and pass the test in language arts and math. And the one area that students were having a problem with was math. You see, I had a 97% passing ratio over at the high school. So I got transferred to go over there to the alternative school, the continuation school, so that I could help turn around the graduation rate. Needless to say, when I first started, we had 114 graduates that very first year. Up to 2019, right before the pandemic, we were graduating in excess of 350. And the main reason for that is because of math. We found a way to teach to students who had given up on learning. And that's why my best-selling book has been 11 Effective Strategies for Teaching Kids that have given up on learning. I've always been one person that has been against the odds, that I've been able to achieve things. And I don't have a lot of time to actually share that with you here because we can just keep going on and on. I'm 70 years old, so you want to talk about seven. But I'm here today to share with you this book. And this book I am actually very proud of. It kind of reminds me of my version of a book by like David Goggins in his book, You Can't Hurt Me. Okay. You can't hurt me no more either. See, I'm retired as a teacher, but I'm still part of education here in California. So anyway, what I want to do on this is to give you a little taste of the book, and then hopefully you'll go out and buy this book. But more importantly, I would like for you not just to buy the book, because I have priced this book very cheap. Right now it's $2.99, and I don't anticipate it's going to go up past that. It's because I want to entice and tease you to share this with people. And I'm only keeping it in two forms here initially. It's primarily the ebook form because it's easy to put on your devices, and also audiobook. And the most important thing, how you can always keep up with everything that's going on is for you to actually follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Teach, Lead, and Inspire. Okay, Teach, Lead, and Inspire. The other thing you can do, you can go to the Google or Apple stores on your phone, pick up your cell phone and type in Teach, Lead, and Inspire and download my app, and the app is free. Okay, so this is all about spreading the word and starting the movement. So without that further ado on that, let's kind of get to it. So first, my little acknowledgments on this book. First and always to my wife, Carolyn. You taught me the meaning of resilience when cancer tried to break me. You carried me through prostate cancer with love that refused to quit. And you still keep me accountable to live debt-free, healthy, and whole. You remind me daily that freedom isn't just a theory, it's a lifestyle. And without your love, strength, and steady hand, this book would never have left my desk. This is as much as it is mine, as much yours as it is mine. I love you. To the memory of George Washington King Jr., who walked away from the security of a government job to sell not just soap, but the American dream. He carried an entrepreneurial spirit that too many schools ignore, a vision that young people can build something of their own instead of waiting for permission. He proved that opportunity isn't given, it's created. His courage, his risk, his refusal to settle, his lessons, and those lessons echo through every page of this book. May this story inspire teachers to stop training kids to be just workers and instead prepare them to be owners, business owners, small business owners, where they are in charge of control of their income and their future and don't have to walk in on any day for someone, for whatever reason, decided that you were no longer needed and have all your dreams. I know how it is to go ahead and work for other people, including the federal government, where you think that you are actually promoting your career and everything else, and only to find out that one day that you come in that you are no longer needed, and all of a sudden you find yourself out of work. To my family, thank you for your patience with the late nights and the belief in me when drafts piled higher than bills. To my colleagues in classrooms, especially those working in the margins, continuation schools, you are the true insurgents, building futures with duct tape, grit, and relentless love. And to my fellow veterans, thank you for showing me that service doesn't end with a uniform. The discipline, the brotherhood, the no bullshit honesty, that brought me into my life. It's the same fire I tried to bring into my teaching. To my students, the past, present, and those yet to come, thank you for trusting me with your stories, your rage, your laughter, your dreams. You've been told you are broken. You are not. You've been told you are behind. You are not. You've been told that freedom comes later, and it doesn't. It comes now when you learn to think, fight, and refuse to sign the chains they hand you. This book belongs to you. This book is for all of you. Now, this book is fiction stitched with truth. It's built from the voices of people who rarely get heard the way they actually speak. Teachers after the last bell when the mask drops. Veterans who did what was asked and refused to be lied to about the cost. And students who have already learned more from survival than any textbook ever gave them. The language is raw. The politics are unvarnished. And the emotions are loud on purpose. That's how it sounds in real classrooms, the faculty lounges, the apartments with the lights off, and kitchens where bills are triage like wounds. If it reads like a Netflix docudrama, good, because that's the point. See, reality doesn't talk like a press release. See, the characters in these pages are composites. The events are rearranged and anonymized. Details are altered to protect the privacy. but the pressures are real. The families living with immigration fear today. Student loan debt that grows even when you pay. And schools asked to fix everything and then punished for trying. Young people deciding whether to fight, flee, or freeze. If pieces of this feel familiar, it's because you know someone living it, or you are. You'll hear profanity. You'll hear rage. You'll hear jokes in dark rooms because sometimes laughter is the last working medicine. None of that is here to shock for support or sport. It's here because people tasked with impossible jobs eventually speak without a filter. And because kids can smell a lie faster than any adult. So sanitized dialogue would just be another kind of dishonesty. And this book refuses that. So what you're holding is a book about hope. Stubborn, practical, insurgent hope. You know, the hope that looks like a teacher rewriting a lesson so a kid can see how compound interest actually steals their paycheck. Hope that looks like a veteran telling the truth even when it costs. Hope that looks like students building something together, skills, side incomes, a plan, and refusing to sign chains that don't have to wear. A word about the teaching in this story, because my foundation is going back again, as I mentioned about follow me on Teach, Lead, and Expire, is because it is grounded in 3 simple commitments. 1, clarity. Kids deserve to know the goal, the path, and how to track their own progress. When expectations are transparent, students can plan, predict, and judge their learning. That's not a slogan. It's a promise we make with our planning, our language, and our grading. Now, every student enters with expertise, history, and value. Seeing them means designing work that honors who they are and what they already know. Refusing deficit thinking. It means understanding the forces that target Black and brown students in particular, and then building classrooms that don't cooperate with those forces. Thinking. Real learning happens when students do the heavy cognitive lifting, standing, talking, sketching, arguing, a good conversation, a debate, revising, not copying answers and not guessing what the teachers want. We need them to be thinking, but also together. So in this book, you'll see those commitments show up as an insurgent curriculum. See, the teachers nickname the playbook. They name it the playbook. So they have a curriculum. It's an insurgent curriculum. And the teachers call it the playbook. It's culturally relevant performance tasks that treat math and civics as tools, not trivia. You'll see students map budgets, model interests, design debt-free paths through college. You'll see them learn to use AI, including chat tools, as a thinking partner to crunch numbers, surface patterns, test assumptions, and translate complicated policies into simple choices. See, the message isn't let a bot do your thinking. It's learn to ask better questions. Verify the answers and use every lawful tool to get free, and then teach someone else how. Let me read that again. The message isn't let a bot do your thinking. It's learn to ask better questions, verify the answers, and use every lawful tool to get free, and then teach someone else how. You'll also see the system push back. It always does. That tension is real. Tell the truth and risk your job, or play it safe and lose your soul. I don't pretend there's a single right answer. I do believe there's a right compass. Students' dignity and future should always come first. Brief content note. The story includes scenes of immigration enforcement, financial stress, and institutional retaliation. So if you need to set the book down, then set it down. Come back when you're ready. See, the people living this don't get to opt out, but readers can pace themselves. If you work in schools, I hope this book gives you language for the conversations you're already having and permission to build lessons that actually change the math of your students' lives. If you're a veteran, I hope you recognize the courage it takes to keep serving without a uniform and to name the mission honestly. If you're a student, I hope you finish these chapters believing two things at once. The system is not fair and you are not powerless. So one last thing. While this is a story, it points to real practices and resources. In the back, you'll find a brief guide and links, tools you can use tomorrow morning. If something here helps you build your own playbook, if it helps one kid avoid one predatory decision, then the work of these pages is worth it. I thank you in advance for reading and listening with me with an open mind and a steady heart. And may this book make you a little more impatient with chains and a lot more skilled at breaking them. Chapter 1. Keys don't mean shit. Part 1. The classroom and the lounge. Shattered change. The morning sun filtered through the dusty blinds of room 203, painting the floor with narrow bars of light and shadow. Dr. Benjamin Diamond stood in the doorway, coffee in hand, surveying the scene inside. His students were just tired. They looked burdened, as though invisible weights hung from their shoulders. The sound of backpacks hitting desks, sneakers dragging across the tile, and the low hum of chatter were ordinary enough. Yet Diamonds felt something different this morning, something heavy pressing into the air. Above the whiteboard hung a banner, frayed at the edges. Education is the key to freedom. It had been there since the school opened. Diamonds had once believed in it and with the kind of blind devotion that only young teachers carried. But after decades of watching graduates march across the stage only to stumble into debt, low-wage jobs, or worse, the phrase felt less like a promise and more like a taunt. "Morning, Ben," Sarah Mitchell carried as she entered, her arms full of folders and coffee-stained papers. Sarah, with her sharp mind and relentless compassion, had been his colleague for years, his steady partner in the uphill fight to reach kids the system seemed eager to forget. "Morning," he replied, setting his coffee on the desk. "How are they?" Sarah glanced at the class, then at him, and her lips were tightening. "Carrying too much like always. I heard Carlos got stopped on his way in. ICE was circling the neighborhood again." Diamond's stomach nodded. Carlos, bright, earnest, with a dream of teaching, lived each day with the knowledge that his parents could be taken at any moment. Before he could respond, the door swung open again. Gabriel Cross strode in, laptop bag slung over her shoulder. Her posture was unmistakable. Spine straight, chin up, eyes scanning the room. Years in the Marine had etched discipline into every line of her body. But unlike drill instructors, Diamond remembered from his own brief brush with the military, Gabriel's gaze carried warmth. She could command respect without crushing the spirit of the one giving it. "Morning, troops," she announced, her voice carrying both authority and humor. A few students chuckled. One boy mock saluted. Another straightened in his seat, unsure if she meant it. Gabriel smiled and shook her head. Miss Cross, Diamond said, still running the classroom like a parade deck. Respect is habit, Gabriel said, setting her laptop down, and habits once learned are harder to break than equations. The kids chuckled, but when they bent over their notes, Gabriel leaned closer to Diamond's, her voice dropping low. You know what pisses me off, Ben? She muttered. Soldiers and Marines like me didn't enlist to be patrolling the damn streets of Democrat-controlled cities. We signed up to defend our country against terrorists, against real threats to democracy. We signed up to fight damn wars like overseas, against foreigners trying to harm us, not to be used as a political pawns marching through neighborhoods in LA, Chicago, or Portland. If this administration had been in charge when I was 20, hell no, I never would have signed that damn contract. She shook her head, then lowered her tone even further. And it's not just combat. You remember Andrea. She was one of mine, did her time, came home, got her master's so she could teach. She signed up for public service loan forgiveness, did everything by the book, 10 years on auto pay, never missed a damn payment. And when she finally applied, they told her 9 of those years didn't count. 9 years, Ben, because some bureaucrat recalculated her interest and said her payments were a few dollars short. Can you imagine that? 10 years of your life, all on ACH, automatic clearinghouse, and they tell you, sorry, doesn't count? Diamonds felt his gut twist. They told her that? Yeah, they fucking told her that, Gabriel snapped, her voice sharp with anger. She was crushed. She did everything right, and the system still found a way to screw her. And you tell me, was it because she was a woman? Was it because she was black? Because nobody gave a damn enough to pick up the phone in 9 years and fix it? That's the kind of shit that keeps me up all night. Not the deployments, not the firefights, this. She straightened, looked back at the students. Her voice softened, but her eyes burned. That's why I'm here. I fight for these kids, Ben. Because I'd be damned if I let them get played by the same broken system that chewed up Andrea and spat her out. The students laughed, tension easing slightly. Diamonds allowed himself a small smile. Gabriel was proving to be a bridge. See, a veteran who could talk discipline while also pushing AI-driven, personalized learning modules that made kids feel seen and not processed. But as he turned back to the whiteboard, the laughter faded. Carlos sat by the window, eyes fixed out, as if waiting for something or someone to appear. Aisha scribbled furiously in her notebook, page after page of neat handwriting notes that looked less like preparation and more like a desperate attempt to impose order on chaos. Devin sat slouched, arms crossed, jaw tight, radiating a storm barely contained. And though she wasn't present, Elena's absence felt palpable. She had been back last week, a graduate who dropped out of college with $40,000 in debt. Her warning still hung in the air. The banner above that whiteboard read, "Education is the key to freedom." Benjamin, Dr. Diamond, stared at it every morning, knowing damn well most of his students felt like freedom was the last thing waiting for him. Carlos with ice fans circling his block, Aisha staring down debt before she even signed her FISA. Devin, angry at a world that offered him bills before hope. This wasn't teaching. This was triage. So Diamonds uncapped his marker and wrote across the whiteboard. Solve for x. 2x plus 5 equals 15. Nobody moved. Silence clung to the room like a fog. Finally, Carlos lifted a hand. Mr. D, does solving for x ever actually solve anything out there? He nodded at the window towards the real world, waiting to crush him. Diamonds glanced back at the banner. Education is the key to freedom. Keys don't mean shit if the locks are welded shut. He set the marker down. Math won't pay your rent, but it'll show you when someone's trying to screw you with numbers. It'll show you the scam when the system rigs the game. Aisha tilted her head. So if we solve this, it's like practice for spotting bullshit? Exactly, Diamond said. But watch your language. So let's crack it. Devin groaned but picked up his pencil. Subtract 5 from both sides, right? Carlos scribbled, nodded slowly. That makes it 2x equals 10. Aisha leaned forward. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 5. Devin tapped his desk. Half a smirk curling. So X is 5. Big whoop. But the energy shifted. Heads nodded. A couple kids leaned forward. Surprised the numbers had given way so easily. For a moment, the room wasn't dead. It was alive. The bells shrieked, but nobody bolted for the door. Some kept staring at the board, pencil still in hand. Diamond saw it, the tiniest spark. Not just solving for X, but solving for themselves. The teacher's lounge smelled like burnt coffee and old copy paper. The walls were plastered with motivational posters, so faded they looked like bad jokes. Diamond dropped into a chair. Sarah was grading essays like she was bailing out a sinking ship, and Gabriel came in last, jaw still tight from earlier. Sarah sighed. Aisha should be excited about college apps, but she's drowning in debt before she even signed the papers. Yeah, Diamonds muttered. She doesn't need pre-calc. She needs a crash course in not getting fucked by Sally Mae. Now Gabriel snorted. Hell, I make a whole course called Don't Sign That Shit. They all laughed, but it wasn't funny. Sarah stabbed her pen at the paper. Football coaches curse kids out daily. Parents cheer. But if I say the system is bullshit, I'm on the chopping block. Gabriel slammed her ward down. Exactly. Freedom of speech, my ass. Musk tells people to cancel network. Kimmel runs his mouth. Coaches cuss daily. And teachers, we're fired for telling the truth. We're supposed to save kids, but can't save what's killing them. Diamonds rubbed his eyes. You can scream at kids on a football field, but call out the Department of Education and you're a liability. Now Gabriel leaned forward. Carlos' dad a target. Aisha's terrified of debt. Devin's a powder keg. We're teaching on a minefield. Diamonds answered. Yeah, then we teach them to spot the mines. Hell, maybe even plant their own. Part 2. The students' hallway talk. The bell rang again, and the hallway exploded. Lockers slamming, sneakers sneaking, voices bouncing off cinder block walls. Carlos moved slow, clutching his books against his chest like a shield. Devin was already leaning on the locker, arms crossed, eyes scanning the crowd like he was daring somebody to fuck with him. Yo, Los, Diamond called. You look like you seen a ghost. Carlos gave a weak grin. ICE vans were circling this morning. I thought they were coming for my dad. Devin spat on the floor. Fuck ICE, man. They don't come to help anybody. They come to ruin families. That's their job. Carlos glanced around, lowered his voice. I swear, every time I hear a siren, I think it's over. You don't know what it's like to wonder if your pops will be home when you get there. Devin leaned closer. Yeah, you're right. I don't. But I know what it's like to watch banks fuck your family over until you can't breathe. We're all getting hunted, bro. Different predators, same game. Aisha walked up, clutching her binder while she was holding her whole future inside it. You two don't even know. You think ICE is bad. Wait till Sally Mae knocks on your door. I looked at the loan calculator last night. If I borrow for 4 years, I'll be paying till I'm 35. 35! That's half my life. Already mapped out. Devin barked a laugh, bitter as hell. Shit, if you're lucky, my mom's 50 and still owes. It's like signing a fucking contract with the devil. Carlos shook his head. Then what's the point? Why even try if the system's rigged? Aisha's eyes burned. Because if I don't try, then they win. And fuck that. They stood there in silence for a beat, kids pressed against the wall, while the world outside kept pulling at them. Carlos lingered by his locker. He wasn't paying attention to the math book he stuffed inside. It was the foam in his pocket that kept buzzing. Another text from his mom. Stay safe. Don't talk. Don't answer the door. His father had left for work before sunrise. Construction site on the west side. ICE vans had been spotted near there. Carlos' stomach just churned. Every time a siren wailed outside, his muscles locked. He was 17, but every day felt like 30, carrying the fear of a family waiting for the hammer to fall. Now Devin slapped his locked locker door, snapping him back. You look like you're about to puke, bro. Carlos forced a smile. Just tired, man. Bullshit, you're scared. Devin leaned closer, voice a low growl. Don't let them see it. That's how they win. You keep your head down. They'll crush you. You stand up. At least you fight back. Carlos wanted to believe him, but when the enemy wore badges and carried clipboards, fighting back felt like suicide. In the bathroom mirror, Aisha pressed her palms against the sink, staring herself down. She looked like she had it together. Hair perfect, notebooks organized, grades immaculate, but inside her chest was tight. See, that FAFSA worksheet she filled out the night before was folded in her backpack, burning like a letter from the devil. Numbers circled in red ink, interest rates, repayment schedules, estimated monthly costs. She's done the math 3 times, hoping she was wrong. She wasn't. She whispered to her reflection, 35 years old, still paying, still chained. Her eyes stung. She blinked hard, straightened her soldiers, and muttered, fuck that. They don't get to write my ending. By lunch, Devin had already been kicked out of history for mouthing off. He didn't care. Mr. Lynn had been droning about American opportunity, while Devin's mom was at home crying over another bill from their trade school scam. He plopped his tray down at the table with a loud thud. I swear, these teachers talk like the system work, like it's still 1950 and hard work gets you a house and a car. Bullshit. You work hard now, you get debt and a second job delivering DoorDash. A kid across from him snorted. At least DoorDash tips. Devin slammed his fists on the table, rattling the trays. It's all fucking rigged. They built it so we never get out. You think your parents paid off their house? Hell no. They're drowning just like us. It's chains, man. We're born with them. We just can't see them until it's too late. Table went quiet. Some nodded. Some looked away. But every kid felt the weight of his words. That teacher's lounge still smelled like coffee and the old paper. The walls were plastered with faded motivational posters from decades ago. Teamwork makes the dream work. Reach for the stars. Diamonds always thought they should replace them with the ones that said, don't cry until lunch, and your copier will jam when you need it most. He dropped into a chair, coffee mug in hand. Sarah was already there, grading essays like she was bailing out a ship with a Dixie cup. Gabriel came in last, cracking open a bottle of water and her jaw still tight from earlier. And Sarah sighed. You see Aisha this morning? Kid looks like she's carrying a mountain. She should be excited about college, but she's drowning in debt before she's even signed the damn papers. Yeah, she doesn't need a pre-calc. Just like we said earlier, she needs a crash course in not getting fucked by Sally Mae. This time Gabriel said, amen. Hell, I make a whole damn course. Don't sign that shit. They all laughed, but it wasn't funny. Sarah leaned back, rubbing her eyes. You know what gets me? Coach is dropping those F-bombs, even practice. Gabriel slammed the water down. Exactly. Elon Musk, all of them supposed to have kids. Diamond nodded, slowly. He remembered the memo from the last semester, the one about maintaining professional language at all times. He wanted to shove it through a shredder. You can scream at kids on a football field, but you can't do this. We're a liability. And the irony, these kids can smell bullshit a mile away. They don't want sugar-coated speeches. They want the truth. And if we give it, what the hell are we even doing here? Silence settled for a beat. They all knew the answer. They were there. Because no one else wanted these kids. Diversity Dime was the last stop, the dumping ground, the forgotten corner. But for them, it was a battlefield worth fighting on. Gabriel broke it. Carlos is next. His dad's going to get snatched one of these days. You could see it in his eyes. Kids waiting for the hammer to drop. How the fuck's he supposed to focus on factoring polynomials when he's thinking about deportation? Diamond stirred at the table. We can't stop ICE, but we can damn well make sure Carlos knows he's not alone when it happens. If we can't teach him freedom, we'll teach him how to fight for it. Sarah closed her eyes, nodded once. And Devin? Diamond smiled grimly. Devin's already a Molotov cocktail. The trick is teaching him to light a torch instead of blowing himself up. Now Gabriel leaned forward, eyes burning. Good, because one protest kid like him, he's dangerous. A dozen, he's a fucking movement. Second period shuffled in. New faces, same heaviness. Diamond started on fractions, but his eyes drifted to the back corner where Aisha sat. Pins spinning between her fingers. She wasn't listening. She was calculating. Not the math on the page, but the cost of her future. Halfway through the lesson, her hand shot up. Mr. D, can I ask you something? Shoot. Why do they say everyone should go to college if half of us can't even afford the damn thing? The room stilled. Every kid looked at him like they were waiting for a magic answer. Diamonds leaned across the desk, choosing his words. Because the system needs you to believe it. If you buy the dream, you sign the loan. If you sign the loan, you'll work your ass off to pay it back, and it keeps the machine running. Devin muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. The machine's fucking broken. A few kids chuckled nervously. Aisha didn't smile. So what's the point of trying then? Diamonds looked at her. The hunger, the fear, the weight. He wanted to tell her the truth. The point is survival. The point is you learn enough to see the chains before they close on your risk. Instead, he said, the point is you learn enough to break the rules on your terms. Her eyes flickered up, searching his face, not convinced, but not crushed either. When the kids cleared out after the bell, Gabriel shut the door and turned to Diamonds and Sarah. This place is a goddamn powder keg, she said. And I'm not talking about behavior. I'm talking about their lives. Immigration, debt, bullshit, policies, no jobs. We're basically teaching on top of a minefield. Diamonds rubbed the back of his neck. Then we teach them to spot the mines and hell, maybe even teach them how to plant their own. Sarah gave a smile. That's the mission, isn't it? Restore the lost? Take the ones everyone else wrote off? and make them believe again? Gabriel grabbed her bag, her voice steady but sharp. Then let's be clear, we're not teachers. We're fucking insurgents. And this school, this is the last safe house before the system eats them alive. Back in the lounge, Sarah pushed her essays aside. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Every day feels like standing in front of a tidal wave with an umbrella. You don't quit, Gabriel shot back. You stay until the last bell, the last kid, the last fucking breath. That's what we signed up for. We signed up to teach, Sarah countered. Gabriel shook her head. No, we signed up to fight. Teaching's the weapon. The classroom's the battlefield. Don't confuse the two. That evening, Diamond sat alone in room 203. The sun had dipped low, turning the blind stripes into long shadows that cut across the empty desk. The banner still hung there. Education is the key to freedom. He leaned back in his chair, staring at it. The words weren't wrong. They just weren't enough. He thought of Carlos, waiting for ice vans like they were hunting dogs. Aisha staring at loan calculators like they were death sentences. Devin carrying rage like a loaded weapon, just waiting for the right target. He muttered to himself, voice low. This isn't teaching, this is triage. The door creaked. Gabriel poked her head in. Still here, huh? Where else would I be, he said. She stepped in, leaned on the doorway. You know what we are, Ben. We're not teachers, not in the way the district wants. We're insurgents. We're fighting a guerrilla war against a system designed to keep these kids chained. Diamonds gave a tired smile. Then I guess we better start training them like soldiers. Gabriel smirked, Marine still flashing in her eyes. Good, because they're already in war. Nobody told them, but they are. And it's time we teach them how to fucking fight back. Diamonds rubbed his eyes, exhaustion pulling at him. But deep inside, he knew she was right. They weren't educators in the district, guys. They were insurgents in the war the country didn't even admit was happening. Diamond staying late. The desk sat empty, but the room pulsed with the weight of the kids who filled them. Carlos' hunted eyes, Aisha's clenched jaw. Devin's fire burning hotter than he could control. Gabriel came back, leaning on the door. You still here? Diamonds didn't look up. She stepped in, voice low but fierce. Go home and get some fucking sleep. Diamonds looked around the room one last time before shutting off the lights. Tomorrow will be another round, another battle. The war wasn't overseas. It was here, inside the walls. This ends chapter 1. And with that, I'm going to finish. If that didn't touch you in a way that I feel it should, then you won't buy the book. But if it touches you like I know it should have touched you, and you're feeling it, you need to buy the book to read the rest. Because this is the beginning, and I just don't leave you hanging, because it's time for action and a change. Math teachers everywhere, I challenge you. You need to become motivated in order to be able to stop the bleeding of the kids that leave out of your classroom. Don't just teach them math. We want them to learn how to survive. And one of the biggest culprits, in my opinion, today is financial affairs. Currently in the state of California, where I live at and where I have been teaching for 20 years, personal finance is a course that we had thought about years ago, okay? But it wasn't mandatory. We had business finance, but the kids weren't going to business. So we taught about business accounting, but we didn't teach them how to do a business. So it was useless, okay? Anyway, personal finance is due to be mandatory in 2030. I wrote this book and I published in this book because I'm saying don't wait to 2030 to start teaching our kids about the dangers and the obstacles that we already know is out there. And matter of fact, let's be straight. Because in the book, the reality is the kids are talking about it and the teachers are sitting like, hey, no, not me. It's not happening to me. Well, guess what? I was one that got in. I had to get student loans when I became a teacher. At the age of 50, when I decided to teach, I had $0 in student loans. I have over $100,000 in student loans now. And I didn't worry about it because I thought that the public service loan forgiveness was going to be there. Turned out that was bullshit. So join the movement. Plus, it also helped me pay off my student loans and also other students. I have more than just a book. But for today, this is it. Chapter 2, Shadows at the Door. But I'll let you go ahead and get that yourself. This is Dr. Smith. Thank you for taking your time. Hope you go ahead and check out. The books are available on Amazon right now in ebook format. The audio book will be coming out here, forthcoming, but probably by the end of the month. This is Dr. Jordan Smith. Just call me Jordan. Otherwise, my old classmates at the Naval Academy call me JB. Either one. Call me JB, call me Jordan, call me Doc. I'm all good. I got your back.